Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Plain Talk in Southeast Colorado. This is officially our third. This is our third that we have, and it has been growing over time. And you may notice as we're having this conversation that we may have some people that will pop on during the conversation, and we just wear a lot of hats in this region, and we all have a lot of responsibilities. And the whole idea about having Plain Talk is that we're really talking about that we're being straightforward in our conversations about whatever our topic is. And then also that we are talking about the plains. Because we have certain needs and things that are very specific to our region. And just know that this will be edited for time at the end, but it will be posted on YouTube. And we are developing a following with that. We have our own, SBDC has its own YouTube channel now. If in the future, if there are things that you would like to do that you'd like to have included, please let us know because we can set all of that up for you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mickie Lewis. I'm the regional director for Southeast Colorado SBDC. And then I would love to go around and let each person introduce themselves. I'll go ahead and start. I'm looking up at the screen. I'm looking at Jaydon. Go ahead and introduce yourself. And your volume is...
Sorry, I've been on too many webinars recently. I'm Jaydon Rice. I'm the Southeast Colorado SBDC Operations Administrator. I'm also going to start working on several other projects here soon that we're really excited to be bringing to this region. And then I work with a few nonprofits in the Rocky Ford area as well.
Thank you, Jaydon. Cheryl?
So I'm Cheryl Sanchez. I think I know everyone that's on here so far. And I'm Director for Pryor's Economic Prosperity and also Baca County Economic Development Commission. And I'm business consultant for Small Business Development Center. And so I don't know at what point you want us to say, something about what we believe that we should be talking about now in relationship to the holidays, but do you want everyone to introduce themselves first, or?
Yeah, I think the introductions first, and then really open up the conversation. And I am a conversation person. I believe that is really important. So, like being respectful of not talking over each other too much, but conversation is conversation. And I think that some really great things come from that. So I don't want you to feel like this is super, super organized in that way. But that's a great question, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Louis?
My name is Louis Ramirez. I'm the SBDC Marketing Administrator here in Southeast Colorado. So that's kind of the big hat I wear for us. I also do a lot of graphic design and website development consultation and business development in that sense. So I am a lot of the creative sense here at the SBDC. And I think Jaydon was being a little too modest with herself. She really is she's the big brain. So she keeps me and Mickie making sure that we are on top of everything.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And thank you for pointing that out.
She deserves the credit because you are Superwoman. Yes, that's my whole thing right there.
Angela?
My name is Angela Whited. I'm a small business owner. I'm a portrait photographer in the Denver area. So I'm just here kind of starting my business and looking for any marketing information I can take in right now.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy?
Took me a minute to unmute. Yeah, I'm Cindy McLeod. I just opened Treasure Antiques and Souvenirs here in Eads, Colorado. I'm on Highway 287, just south of hometown Gas and Grill. And I'm taking advantage of the Small Business Accelerator, Business Accelerator class. Anyway, I'm so glad, Angela, that you said that you were also a small business person, because I'm going, I'm really supposed to be here. So, okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, anyone is invited. So it's wonderful to have you both here, because I think that you all have some insights on some things that that are very specific because of the fact that you own a small business. And then you may have some great questions, and then we've got some great minds here that hopefully will be able to give you some ideas for the holiday marketing. Thank you, Cindy. Mary?
Hey, everybody. I'm the new Southeast Colorado Small Business Incubator Administrator, and I work with Mickie's team, especially with the Accelerator program that Cindy mentioned. I also work with Sammy George with the Bent County Development Foundation on a lot of different grants and programs that we're trying to get implemented, along with our partnerships with the SBDC and Fort Lyon. So I've got a lot of things to do with my job. Community-wise, I just moved back to the community after about 10, 12 years away for college and just big city life. I just figured out the term for me is a boomerang, which I thought was kind of interesting. One of those community members that left for a short time and came back. So excited to see what that'll bring, and just getting involved back into the community, mostly in Bent County, but we have family and friends in Prowers and Kiowa County as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Welcome.
Ginger?
Hi, everybody. I'm Ginger Coberly. I'm the owner, publisher of Real Deals Magazine. We're based in Lamar, but of course serve all of Southeast Colorado. I'm also involved in several nonprofit groups here in Prowers County that do lots of different things.
And Ginger, could you explain, for those who don't know what Real Deals Magazine is, could you just give a brief explanation of that?
Sure. Real Deals Magazine is a direct mail piece that goes to 100% of the households between Fowler and Syracuse, Kansas. We go out on a quarterly basis, and we're full of advertisers. That's what our main goal is to advertise our small hometown businesses and encourage people to shop local.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Sometimes we assume that everybody knows what that is, what these wonderful pieces are, and they don't. So I want to make sure that everyone knew how your magazine worked. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Mickie.
Stephanie.
There we go. Hello, everyone. I'm Stephanie Gonzales. I am the regional economic developer for Southeast Region 6, which is all 6 counties in this southeast corner. We do a lot of work with business loan funds, housing, community development, transportation planning, enterprise zone. So we wear, like many of you, wear a lot of different hats and offer different programs. And so I'm excited to see small business owners, some of whom I'm very familiar with. So very good. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just openers.
Hello. Are you talking about, just.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Randy. Yes, I am a small business owner here in Colorado Springs.
Oh, great. Thank you. And could you give us just a brief overview of what your business is?
I install garage door openers. That's the name of my company, is Just Openers.
Completely makes sense. So that's very cool. Thank you. I'm pleased to see that we have someone from outside of the region that is joining us, and we certainly welcome that cross-pollination. I think we need that now more than ever, that sharing of ideas. So hopefully we will have some things to offer you, and maybe you can give us some insights on what you're experiencing in Colorado Springs. Rich.
Hi, I'm Rich Hoffman. I'm here with Kirk Loudon. We are business partners in the Chronicle News Media Group. We are a full service marketing and advertising firm that just happens to own the local newspaper here in Trinidad.
And I'm also going to put in a plug that Rich and their team is actually on our SBDC consulting team as well in Trinidad, which is very exciting. I think that diversity is really important, especially when it comes to consulting, because one business, there's not just one answer. So I love having lots of different talent. I hope you don't mind me plugging that in there for you, Rich.
Yeah, Kirk seems to be a little torqued up about it. Just kidding. Thank you, Mickie.
And then B. Martin. Do we have you with us, B. Martin?
You'll need to unmute. I see that you're joining us via phone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay.
I am completely computer illiterate. We have two businesses. We have Martin's General Store in La Junta, and we are also going to open in Rocky Ford in the coming weeks. I know very little about marketing. I don't know how to do a page on the internet. I don't know anything about those kind of things, and would like to learn anything I can about marketing. So that's why I'm here.
Wonderful. So for those of you who, as we go through this conversation, if you're thinking that you might want to set up an appointment with SBDC to have additional assistance with some of these areas, please let us know. You can stay on at the end and we can get your information. All of SBDC's services are free, and we pay for consultants to help in different areas. And then we've got a very talented team. So don't worry. Not everybody knows how to do everything. And SBDC is here to make sure that we get you connected with the best and strongest help for whatever your needs are. So that takes us into, and really I kind of want to toss this over to you, Louis, a little bit, as far as the fact that this conversation is about holiday marketing. And I know we've heard more probably than anyone wants to hear about COVID. But unfortunately, it is something that is going to affect our holiday season. And so one of the reasons that we wanted to have this conversation is, yes, to talk about what we can be doing to build that momentum during the holiday season, but also strategies working around some of the things that we may not have control over during the holiday season. So, Louis, I'm going to let you take the helm on this one and get this conversation started.
Alrighty. So, a little specific towards COVID, but going with the holiday stuff as well. COVID-19 really did push the aesthetic of business in today's time frame to where everything's online. So that's kind of the first thing where I think that's an important thing to put out there is whether we don't really know how to do it or we're very good at doing it, it is a good business move to try and get your business online because between COVID and the way of technology and stuff, it really is going to be a vital part of your business to have an online presence. And then going in with that with holiday marketing, I think it's also important to know that being online and having your service menu online or selling your products online is kind of a vital push through for the holidays, especially now with COVID. Because I think that's where a lot of business is going to end up relying on is the online e-commerce and moving of products online. So I think that's an important thing to think about with this conversation is really we're kind of just trying to make sure that everyone stays as productive and financially set through COVID in general. And then holiday marketing, you throw that in, there's a lot of competition anyways. So then you kind of align those two things together. There's a lot of things that could be setbacks, but if you think about the marketing in a creative mindset, then really it's more opportunity to get yourself out there in different avenues that you wouldn't necessarily have thought of before. And speaking of different avenues too, I think that's a good way to throw either Stephanie or Cheryl into the conversation. But I think a lot of people kind of assume with marketing, it's your straightforward, putting out advertisements and putting ads in paper and stuff like this and that nature. But if you think about it in a sense of, public relations and communications, it really is developing relationships with different entities and different, partners and this and that to be the most productive in your marketing tactics that you can be. And with that, like one of the ways that's off the wall that people don't typically think about with successful marketing is, say, for Stephanie with transit, there's a lot of opportunity with tourism and transit that those kind of go hand in hand together anyways. So you could think about that as an off the wall way to have physical marketing in like a transit location, but then you could also turn around and put that online, and that's either holiday marketing tactic or any time of the year, but it's placing two different streams of heavy advertisement marketing, but using one bird or one stone to kill both of those birds.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Putting that physical flyer out there that people will see every day reminds them that, hey, local services are available, products, you don't have to go very far. And I do understand with the COVID, there's issues that people don't want to go out. Having that Facebook presence or social media, whatever it is that you use, a lot of people aren't familiar with how to navigate it, but I know the SBDCs, you have all had social media instruction on that type of thing, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I see that people inquire on is, how do I actually set up a website? And there are working capital funds that are available through our program that serves the 6 counties in Southeast that you could get. I hate to say you have to get a loan to do it, but that initial setup and then having somebody teach you how to do it is really important if you're going to navigate just like everyone else, because I do know there are a lot of people that are doing online. Mm-hmm. So that's always something to consider. Not that we want to finance you into more loans, but if the assistance is needed, our program's here to help with that type of funding. But I do agree, social media, whether that be setting up an e-commerce, you see that happening, just like working from home is happening without you really wanting it to happen. You know, you have to adapt, you have to move with technology and try to get that in place so that you're not behind.
Cool. And then just quickly to, if I was a consumer wanting to look up the program that you were just mentioning, how would I go about finding that program?
Whoops, forgot I muted there. On our website, www.seced.net. And we do have the business loan fund program listed there.
I think that was an important topic that you hit too with what you were saying, is the getting to know what you're doing, having that knowledge. Because a lot of times that's where, you know, being self-sufficient comes in, is we all have friends and we'd love to support their businesses as well. But if I could learn how to do this stuff myself, then that makes me more of a self-sufficient, productive business owner, which then in turn puts you in a better spot to then help people out afterwards. Right. You know, once you're in a good spot. So, and to go with what you were saying, and Rich and Kirk could chime in with this too, but between your entity and SBDC, there really is a lot of different opportunities to get that education and gain that knowledge. And in different realms, you know, where how you'd said before, where we could do social media consulting. There's also a program that the SBDC has where we offer website development consultations in that kind of same realm as you do. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity to learn how to do it yourself so that you're more comfortable doing it in the future.
This is Kirk over at Chronicle News Media Group. I do agree with that. You touched upon Facebook and social media. One of the things about that, it's really important because it's one thing you can get out there relatively inexpensively, if not cheap completely, is you need to be on it a lot. It's not something you can go up there, set it up, and hope the thing is going to take its own life and keep on going. You got to be posting constantly, and not just content, visuals, video, things like that. So one of the things you did mention was teaching them to do it, which is great, but also keep in mind that your core business is the business side of it. So the marketing side of it, just make sure it doesn't overtake you on that side. That can be dangerous as well.
Right. And especially with the time spent, because I'm lucky enough that that's my position title. So I kind of have the leniency to focus on that a lot.
Right.
But, you know, especially if you're a single business owner and you're running the entire show by yourself, then handling a marketing campaign like that could really overtake your day-to-day operations. So it is, and in that sense too, it is great to outsource. And in that, when you're outsourcing, more so know what you want and what to expect out of the person that's creating these marketing materials for you. Because even if you don't have the time to create it yourself, it is your, you know, it represents your business. So you should at least know what it is that you're looking for.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to be able to go out there and meet with these people, if you're going to hire a third party, is, you know, you meet with them and you say, okay, for these 3 weeks, this is what I want to do. So at least you have a plan when you're going out there. The day-to-day stuff, you may not have to handle, but at least you know what's going out there pretty much every day.
Yeah. And I think you hit a good point with that too, is the day-to-day versus a strategic plan.
Correct.
So you're, you know, using your Facebook or social media as a heavy day-to-day kind of more fun, here's some cool, you know, stuff where keep us on your mind, but then also having a very strategic marketing strategy that is put in place that will push you through maybe those, if there's a week or so where you know you're going to be too busy and you're not going to have the opportunity to post as heavily or this or that, you can still rely on that very strategic concrete plan that you've developed, and now you can send that off to someone, or they already have that, and then you could chime in knowing what you want, saying, hey, we don't have the time on our end to do this, but I need you to do this and this and this, what I've already notated on that plan, to kind of compensate in the meantime.
Well, in addition to what Kurt mentioned, you know, posting on social media, don't get too bogged down in text.
Yeah.
You know, post some little short videos, some creative artwork, because as we all probably know, you know, people just don't read anymore. You know, it's got to be something that's going to catch their eye and catch their attention.
And I think that in itself too is really important to consider, and something that I always like to keep on my mind when I'm thinking about, you know, the most successful marketing strategies is how a teenager would react to it and how they would be pulled in, because, you know, we're all from different generations in life, but I think even the generation younger than us is the most intuitive with technology and with kind of just having an inborn understanding of marketing, because that's what they've grown up into because of the, you know, subliminal marketing tactics of being online and in social media anyways. So I think having that kind of young and fresh view of knowing that you need content that's going to get that person to want to deep dive on your site or your page.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's very true.
Yeah, I think that, one of the things that I love about having a team is that I can have an idea and I can think that it's a really great idea. And then I can turn to Lewis and Jaydon, and then I can say, and I can turn to Cheryl and now Mary and say, what do you think about this idea? And then they can say, that sounds really good, but here's where your problems are going to be. And so not just having a network of, because I think for a lot of us, you know, for especially small business owners, we'll turn to our family member or our friend. But what is a good idea is to have someone that it would be considered more of a colleague, because they're going to be very direct with you. You have that relationship and you say, listen, I put this together, what do you think? And then they're going to say, I don't know what this means. That's really important to find out, because we often, as we're creating pieces, we know what we mean. And then we assume that everyone else knows that as well. So to really seek out other assistance, and that whether that means that you're working, like you're even contacting SBDC and saying, listen, I'm working on this thing and could you take a look at this? That there are a lot of resources available, and to use that as an opportunity so that you can get criticisms that are actually that are going to help you as you're moving forward and making sure that the messaging is exactly what you're wanting. And also, once again, I mean, it's not that we haven't had this technology in the past, but COVID has really forced a deeper intuitiveness with social media. So you let's say you are working with someone and you're developing a website, and you know that you're going to want to post on Instagram, and you're also going to want to do some posting on Facebook. You can actually if you communicate with the person that you're working with that's helping develop that, they can help you set that up to where those postings are happening automatically, that all of those pieces are working together instead of you spending 5 hours going to each and every single place that you might be marketing. And that's something, but it's something that you're going to want to, you want to have a plan, just like you would have a business plan. Your marketing plan, you should have written down what it is that you're wanting to achieve, who you're wanting to reach, how you want to reach them, goals, even down to sales goals. Here's what I'm hoping that the sales goal that I can make, that I can reach for this holiday season. And to kind of like cap that off, I realize I am not a tax attorney, but I've spent my entire career has been doing contract work. And remember, everything that you do for your business, as long as you can directly tie it to your business, it is tax deductible. So if you are hiring someone to do work for you, to create this marketing piece for you, or you're purchasing software, or just you're updating your computers so that you can have a better and stronger online presence, keep your receipts, make sure you have everything organized, and keep in mind that those are tax deductions, because we're not that far away from tax time. And we don't even know yet what those deductions are all going to look like.
I'm sorry to interrupt. If I can add to that, enterprise zone. Anytime that you are, of course, enterprise zone is investment tax credits can happen if you purchase equipment for your business throughout the year. But there's also job training credits that you can utilize, or new jobs. There's credits for that as well. So don't forget to be pre-certified, because we are in an enhanced rural enterprise zone. So the credits that we receive, because we're considered a distressed area, these are incentives for a business to invest in itself, in the community that it's in. So in doing that work, don't forget to ask your tax accountant to make sure that they're taking every advantage of every enterprise zone credit that you can take advantage of.
Thank you for bringing that up, because that is something I think that we hear about and not everybody really understands, and that that one of the best things that we can be doing right now is not only accessing, when you have an opportunity to get information, to access that information, but then also ask questions. Like, that's one thing that I think that we need to do even more so now than ever before, which is asking.
I would like to add to that, that with that accountant and CPA, not only look at those tax incentives, but there are times, if you know what your sales are, that maybe if you would buy a piece of equipment, it makes sense to do it in 2020 versus 2021, or maybe it makes sense to wait for 2021. Don't wait until December when you're so busy with all of your consumers that you don't have time. Do that now. Meet with that accountant to make sure that you get advantage of everything that you can for 2020, because I know it's too late if you wait till January. So make sure that you have that plan. And one of the things I was going to bring forward was to just revisit 2020. And Mickie, you brought that up. You and I are firm believers of having that active business plan. So you had a marketing budget, you had a marketing strategy, look at it to see what worked and what didn't. And then in December, or for the holidays, look at those things that you have still that maybe you need to get rid of, so to speak. And so just know that in that marketing strategy, what are those things that are going to benefit your business that you can offload before 2021, and then start that 2021 plan with what worked and what didn't work. And obviously this adaptation with COVID has made things look different, but in the last 3 months, you've probably seen some changes that you really want to write into 2021's plan, because you're already seeing a shift in the way that consumers are buying. And that really does have to do with the holiday, pre-holiday season plan is get right now, start. Don't wait until the end, because you're going to get so busy with your business, you might not have time to do that. One of the other things I wanted to bring up is, we'll still have that small business Saturday, and I think it'll be November 28th. And so think about those days that, there's a group of people, big companies maybe are even advertising, and take advantage of that. Don't just have your own marketing campaign. But if you can capitalize on some of those big events, and that will be a big one for small business to capitalize on, to really use that as a good day. You know, the big box stores have already started the holiday season. So get a jump on your small business competitor by getting this organized, and know what you're doing, make a list, know who's going to work and when they're going to work, what your team's going to do. And you know, you can really make this end of 2020 be a very successful part of the whole year.
I think those are great points. And I just wanted to let everyone know, if you haven't noticed, at the bottom of the screen, there's a chat, and there's Stephanie's added some information. And then also Louis added some. Just Openers was talking about how he uses GoDaddy, which actually, one of the things that I wanted to bring up is that remember that part of marketing is that there's a negotiation piece in that, that you can ask for, what are my options? Do you have any specials that are going on? If I do, here's some of the different things that I may be needing. Can that be packaged? And if it's packaged, would I receive a discount on this? It's okay to be an active consumer, and it's not going to ruin any relationship by asking, because I think that there are lots of, what we're seeing right now is that there are companies that are just flooding the market with all kinds of try us and use this. Just make sure that you're reading, that you're really like taking the time to read when they say free this. Do they mean free 2 weeks? Do they mean free 1 week? Do they mean free a couple of months? Do they mean free pen? I mean, there's a lot of marketing is happening all around us, and some of it has been very, very helpful to the consumers and to our small businesses. And then some of it has been not so helpful, in that it kind of came and then it suddenly disappeared. So you do have that, right. And it is a responsibility as a business owner to ask those questions. So being prepared, having that plan so that you can have that intelligent conversation with whomever you're working with, but then also have your list of questions. This is something that I'm looking at for the holidays, but I also know during the next year I'd like to do this as well. And is this something, do you have some sort of a package where you would be willing to give me a discount, or is there something that maybe because you're thinking about the holidays that this is coming up and it would be better if I package this together? It's always worth it to ask that. We do it at SBDC, we do it all the time, and I feel like everyone should be doing it, but I think that sometimes that we don't, especially if you're like approaching like a big box or a large company. Like let's say you decide you want to use Square, you now want to sell online and you want to use Square. Find out what they're offering, but then also ask. Make the ask, because it's possible that there are opportunities that are there that they're not advertising, but that salesperson or that individual you're talking with has the ability to make an adjustment, to give you a discount, to package it with something else. So I look at it as just being creative and making the ask, and there's no There's no wrong in making the ask, because the worst thing that they can say is no. But a lot of times there are other things going on that can be, just by asking, you can have that package together. And I noticed Sammy George joined us, and I didn't want to not give her an opportunity to introduce herself, in case you don't know Sammy.
Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I'm a little bit late getting on. I was doing a Excel workshop up in Eads, and it ran a little bit late. But since I got on, the conversation's been real great. And I am the director of the Benton County Development Foundation, so I serve Benton County, but I'm also an SBDC consultant. And I've been working with Mickie for a little while now on a number of projects. So marketing is part of my background, my educational background. So it's been really interesting to hear the conversation at this point. One thing that's come to mind, and I know that there's been some small conversation about this, but I haven't really seen a lot of it taken off, is marketing co-ops. So, you know, like the ability of small businesses to group together. You know, I know, like, personally, you know, if you go to, you know, the Benton County Democrat or the Hunter Tribune and you ask for, you know, a little advertisement to go in regularly in the newspaper, you know, they're going to try to sell you the package of, you know, well, for $1,500 a year, you can get an advertisement so many times a week or once a week or whatever. And I know for some small businesses, you know, that's not manageable. But, you know, Mickie was just talking about making the ask, and I think that that's an opportunity for some of our small businesses too. You know, if there's a business that can maybe afford half of that, maybe you find a partner, or maybe you find somebody else who's looking for half, and you make the ask to the paper to say, well, Bill, for the full, you know, for this full discount or for the full discounted advertising or marketing package, you know, we'd like to partner together on this to provide, you know, the full year's worth of advertisements, but we only pay for half each. And I think the same could be true for a number of different marketing opportunities. And so I think that needs to be something that maybe we start talking to some of our small businesses about locally as well.
That's actually really interesting. Oh, go ahead, Jaydon. I saw you were going to say something.
Yeah, that is, I think, one of the most common forms of strategic partnerships in our area is for marketing. We see, for instance, we have a trio that have been in our small business accelerator, and they each do a different form of cosmetology, you know, in that industry, but they banded together to have a larger workspace and to share clientele. And you also see that with, you know, small restaurants. If we have a few in the area that, you know, one might only serve desserts, one might only serve lunch. So they do that strategic partnership to share clientele and say, well, if you bring your receipt from this establishment, you get 10% off here. And so that's where you can kind of share not only the marketing cost, but then share your clientele. Because really, once you get a client, it's much easier to keep that client than to go and get another new client.
I think that's a good point that Jaydon made, that kind of simulates between both what Cheryl started with and Mickie followed with, is that negotiation piece and building relationships to utilize and capitalize off of other marketing ploys that people have already put in place and create a good relationship out of that. So like the three that are about to open their cosmetology center, you know, maybe that their opening or their holiday marketing could be placed around Early Settlers Day in La Junta. And then they have a conversation with the people who run that event beforehand, where everyone kind of is aligned before the event happens. Everyone knows their place in that situation, and then the outcome is a huge crowd for that event and a ton of business for you.
And don't, I always say don't be shy, just openers. I mean, you're from Colorado Springs. We have a tremendous amount of talent in Southeast Colorado. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of times that the word doesn't get passed along the depth of talent that we have. So we have web development here. We have newspapers that are produced here. We have graphic artists. We have tons of artisans. I just was over at a small business earlier today. They just opened in La Junta, and it was filled with artwork and it was all local artists. So this is not a time, when it comes to marketing, it's not a time to be shy. It's actually a time to kind of step outside of yourself and think about yourself as a marketing manager. You know, as business people, we have our emotional self. We've got that part of us that's like, I love my business. I love what I do. I want it to be successful. I want to take care of it. It's my baby. But then there should be that other side of us that says, okay, now I'm your business manager, and your business manager is not going to be emotional about this. Your business manager is going to ask all the questions. It's going to make sure to reach out to all the entities that are out there. It's going to make sure that I'm prepared. And this is something that, I mean, we're talking about holiday marketing right now, but really this is this should be a practice for all of us. So whether it's platforms that you start for the holidays because you've decided that you're going to move online and you definitely want to market, but not just thinking about the holidays, but also the fact that this might be a platform that you're going to be using. You're going to be using this for more than just 1 month or 2 months. So what's my deal for the holidays? But okay, so what if I signed on for an entire year? What if is it possible for, like, when Jaydon and Sammy and Cheryl and Lewis, we're all talking about that piggybacking. I always call it piggybacking, where you're working with another entity and you guys are coming to an agreement and then possibly going in on purchasing that platform together, but making sure that that platform is something that can keep your financial and marketing information split. And I know I said early on, we've had this virtual capacity for a long time. We just haven't used it to full capacity. And what's happening now is that our companies are realizing that they actually have some work to do, which means that they are making changes and that they are having things that now's the time for the ask, because they want to be used, because they're competing as well. They're competing against each other. So sometimes there are things that you can find, platforms that you can use where multiple businesses can be using the same platform, but you have your own business space and your own logins for that. And that's something that I don't think that I didn't see a lot of that in the past, but I'm seeing a lot more of that now, because it goes back to what Sammy was talking about stretching your dollars. You've got a limited amount of budget. And so how can I make the most of the money that I have, but then also have access to this platform that's going to help me do more. Are there any questions? Because I know we've given, there's a lot of information that has been shared. Are there any questions?
Well, it's more a question to the small business owners. You mentioned, I think Luce mentioned early on about strategic plans or a marketing plan. Do you small businesses that are available here, that are on this chat, know how to put one together, know what it involves? Is that a no?
I'll say no.
Well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead, go ahead.
Now, one of the things that we've always talked about is if you decide that you have to put a plan together and you don't know how to do it and you want to hire an outside source to do it, if you meet with that outside source, for example, and they come in and they leave and the next day they come back with a plan for you, they're probably not the people for you because they probably haven't done the research to find out who you are. You need to find out, they need to find out who you are before they can put anything together. They need to do some research. And if they're good at what they do, they will give you what you need and not necessarily what you want. So look at that aspect of it too when you're going out and research these things.
I think that's a really great point. And also your involvement in it. Anytime you're handing over your idea to someone else and then you're walking away, like someone else is creating that plan for you. If you were to be asked at a moment's notice, what is your plan? How familiar are you with your plan now? So having that working relationship, ensuring that it's not just passing this off to an entity, but also being involved in that conversation. And I know that, you know, as small business owners, you have a lot to do, but at the same time, if you have a business plan, you're going to need to be able to talk. You're going to need to be able to talk to a lender about it. So you need to know what your business plan is. You need to be part of that process.
I think to that point too, for marketing plans specifically, if the business owner isn't involved enough, and I'm not saying that hiring a consultant and having that plan, like that guidance to walk you through and help develop that plan is a bad thing, but if the business owner is not involved enough in the creation of that plan, then it's also harder to pivot and to adjust strategies as you need to, because if you just hand it off to somebody else to do the work and then COVID hits, and now you have to completely reposition yourself and repivot and look into alternative ways of connecting with your consumers and your customers, then you really have to go back to that person that created the plan and say, okay, this is what we're doing, how do we change it? And so it really, in my opinion, is very important that whether you're talking about a business plan, whether you're talking about financials, whether you're talking about marketing, you know, it's your business. You need to be involved in the creation and every step of the process so that you are intimately aware of what the ins and outs of your entire plan involves. And you can also then make educated adjustments as you need to throughout the life of your business. And you're not just relying on somebody else to tell you what to do, but you actually are able to start making a lot of those decisions and those adjustments on your own.
And to go on to Sammy's thought too, I really like the word intimate that she used, because I typically think of your marketing plan as like your personality. You know, if you think of your entire business as parts of who you are, the marketing really is the intimate, personal, fun, creative part of your business. So you want to have a personal relationship with that, and you want to understand what your vision is going through, because in that sense too, it makes you more excited to stay part of the process, and that excitement in turn creates better content because there's no burnout involved.
I totally agree. We still do. We use a form when we meet with clients, and it's literally 5 questions. We have everybody who works there fill these 5 questions out. They're questions like, who do you think you are now? What are you presenting to the market? What is your promise to the market? How do you get there? And what's your aspiring vision to get there? And if you have all those people fill it out and bring it together, it strikes that conversation up between the entire company, organization, or just 4 or 5 people to see if they're even on the same page to start with too. And once you start getting that information out, you can actually have that conversation of where do you want to go when you're moving forward.
And I think that's an important point to hit too, especially with if you're thinking about holiday marketing, because it's a specific bucket of your marketing in general, is making sure that everyone who is involved is on the same page and knows that the plan to get there is going to bring a result that everyone is happy with.
Absolutely. Well, and I've seen these questions that Kurt just mentioned. I've seen that sheet of paper, and to sit down and actually answer these questions is very thought-provoking and can, in certain circumstances, can be quite difficult to answer them truthfully.
I think that's important to acknowledge as well, because you pull yourself down to that one realm of information where it's like, okay, we found this piece where maybe we don't know what we actually mean, or maybe we're not quite sure where we want to go. Then that's important to, discuss that and get creative input on that piece specifically before you move on with the whole process. Because maybe you're having a brain fart or some type of roadblock, and you, by realizing and answering that one small piece of the puzzle, that might end up taking that whole roadblock out of the way, or give you an aha moment of, okay, that was the one piece that was keeping us from getting to where all of us want to be.
Absolutely. It's amazing how many people start a business, go into business for themselves without a clue. And, when they're posed with these questions, they don't have a clue. I mean, they really have to do some soul searching to get to the bottom of it, and then to the forethought to put a plan together. And like you just said, Louis, I mean, it's that aha moment that when they really start delving into it and self-analyzing themselves and their business, they can have some pretty big revelations.
Absolutely. We've done this with people with 3 people and with 40 people, and you find out that they're not on the same page a lot of times, and you got to find out how to get them on the same page, or what is the page that they want to be on.
Well, and it's interesting. So when we had the onset of COVID, and then I was taking phone calls and literally my phone was ringing from very early in the morning until very late at night, and it just didn't stop for several months. And it was the number one thing that kept coming up as to why individuals were not able to get lending, is that they actually didn't have a plan. They actually didn't have all of their information organized. In other words, they didn't know their business.
Right.
They did their business. They got up every day, went to work, but could not explain their business. They couldn't explain how they were making money. They couldn't explain where the money was going to. Even down to where they were asked, where individuals would be asked, well, what are your expenses? And then they didn't know. So I was having, and which was very eye-opening. I mean, obviously, as a SBDC director, there's a week doesn't go by where there isn't something that comes up where I'm like, I didn't think about it that way. But talk about several months of intensive just reminder over and over again of how many individuals start business. They just start their business, and that what we've learned, one of the things that we've learned in this particular scenario that hit everyone equally, was that we really need to know what it is, what our plan is. Like, it needs to be tangible. It can't be just something in your head. That you really need to be prepared, because let's hope that nothing like this happens again. But let's say you want to expand. Your business is actually doing better than you ever imagined it would, and you want to expand, and now you do need to go to a lender, because in order to expand, you're going to need a little bit more money. You still need to have all of that information. You still need to be able to talk about your business. And to sell your business, to do that marketing, to make use of the 60-second elevator speech, like, can you talk about your business? Somebody asks you, what is your business? What do you do? Are you able to actually talk about it? Or do you find yourself hemming and hawing? Then if you're hemming and hawing, you are not intimately connected with what your business is. And all of that makes a difference. Yes, for holiday marketing, absolutely. I think everybody's going to find that they're going to be working a little bit much more creatively, and a little bit harder at that holiday marketing. But this is something that I think that we're going to be dealing with all through 2021. I don't think that so if what you're planning for now, and what you're working on now will help with the holidays, but this should be a continuous plan, and this should continue throughout this year. And once you make that a habit, you're just going to get better at it. You're just going to find more creative ways. You're going to be more prepared. You're going to find out ways you can diversify. You're going to find ways you can save money. You're going to find ways that maybe your business has been, I always call it bleeding, these small bleeds where you never really thought that this was a deduction because you do it every day, but actually you're bleeding money that way. And how you can be collaborating with other small businesses, even if it's just to support. Each business supports the other business. So like the use of having the receipt, if you bring your receipt from this over here, then you get 10% off or 5% off or something like that. These are things that can be used all the time. They don't have to be, it doesn't have to be just for the holidays. And I don't want you to feel like this was a bait and switch plain talk, but I think it's a very important conversation, and one that probably we'll find ourselves having again as we get later into 2021. But this is really all about strategies. I know that we try to be cognizant of everyone's time. It's 3:04, but I want to make sure that if there are any questions or anything that someone feels has been left unanswered or that maybe we'd like to touch on, we're perfectly fine staying on for a few more minutes to make sure that we address that as well.
Mickie, there was one thing I thought of, this one question, but just to make sure that marketing isn't just to those people that already know about you, but to expand your market. And just because you live in Southeast Colorado doesn't mean that people won't travel to you, or that you might be the only option for someone that lives, 60 to 80 miles away. So don't concentrate all your efforts close to home.
Exactly. We're a region, but we're also kind of right up against other regions.
Right.
I would like to real quick address a question that we got in the chat. Just openers, they are looking for a person with really good handwriting to write promotional letters. I would say look in your area for professional calligraphers or individuals that professionally write in fonts. There are several that I know of throughout Colorado. I don't know their contact information, unfortunately, but also you can look for art students at local high schools or colleges. Might be a really good place.
That's a great place. And you go ahead, Louis.
Oh, sorry, I was just typing as Jaydon like chimed in. But I was going to suggest that the artist thing, especially if you find someone in college, then they are, I'm sure, most willing to do it at a decent price. So you won't have to go out of your way to pay big bucks for it. And I can guarantee almost any artist, especially if you look at the paintings or whatever they do, if they have really clean, soft lines on their artwork, then you know that that's your person because they have control of their hand. So they'll probably have very good handwriting as well.
And a lot of times those can actually be turned into projects. So if you talk to the head of the department, they might possibly be able to get a grade for doing work for you. So there's an accountability piece in there, which I always like that. I always like there to be some accountability. But then also they're getting something in return. You're helping them on a project that they're making a grade, and then that adds to their portfolio, and then you're getting this amazing work.
Yeah. And then to add with that too, if you're a graduate art student in your last year of school, a lot of times it's necessary in the curriculum to understand PR and marketing anyways. So if you find a graduating art student, then like Mickie was saying, it might simulate really well to where maybe they get an internship hours out of doing that type of project for you. And then you're just pushing them closer to graduation. So.
Since we have a bit of a pause, I want to plug in just a couple things that we have going on. This evening, we will be having a intro to social media marketing course that you can find on our website, in our newsletter, or on our Facebook page. You can find the link for that, or if you would like it sent to you, just let me know. And then the following week, we will have that same workshop in Spanish. And then we will have more rotations of the Accelerator coming after the holidays if you are interested in joining the Small Business Accelerator.
And to connect all of that back to marketing and holiday marketing as well, that SBDC does have a program. It is specific to small businesses in Southeast Colorado. So anyone outside of our region, if you'd love to open up a second hub down here, then you could participate in that programming as well. But we're trying to do a lot to help with getting people online and garnishing more online interest. So with that, we introduced a website development program that does consulting work with small businesses to get them online. And then to plug on that plug, a good platform if you'd like to kind of do this stuff yourself and kind of play around and see if you could learn how to be a marketing guru at it. There's a website called constantcontact.com. It's a marketing and advertisement site, but they also have a website builder on there. So if you pay for a monthly membership, you get a free domain from their platform and you could edit the site whenever you'd like from that login. So that's also a cool, cheap way or more efficient way to get a really cool website going without having to pay for the development and the ongoing upkeep and stuff like that. So
I do want to add to that, make sure that whatever you're working on, that you have the ability to have someone else, like let's say you wanted to do something more sophisticated, because we have some very talented website developers in the region. Just make sure that you can actually allow, if you wanted someone to expand on your website or wanted to become a little more sophisticated with the look, that you have the ability to do that. That's definitely an ask you want to ask on the front end, because there are some platforms out there that will say, we've got a great price and it's really super easy, but then nobody else can work on it except for us. And so just be cognizant of that. Are there any other questions or anything else that anyone would like to have addressed before we bring this our session to a close?
If I may, I would like to ask the small business attendees specifically if there was information that you were expecting from this conversation that maybe we haven't hit on yet.
And oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. For myself, I was hoping to hear a little bit more detail about how to get prepared and get going on the holiday stuff. I've just started my own Facebook page in July, and I've got 132 followers. And but converting them from followers into customers that'll walk in the door is, and maybe that's just all COVID. But I don't think so. But anyway, I do realize that my thing is I need to be reaching out, and I'm prepared. I'm ready to do that, to reach out beyond the area, because a lot of what I'm doing is towards tourists, and I need to get the word out that as those people are traveling through our region, that they need to stop at my store, and also to encourage them to come through our region instead of heading right to I-25 as quickly as they can.
How often are you posting?
I'm sorry, what?
How often are you posting on your page?
Almost daily.
Good, very good.
Yeah, and like the one I put up, I haven't put one up today, but the one yesterday, it had over 500 views. So, that sounds great, but, I can hear the crickets chirping at the store.
Do you ever boost your posts? Do you ever?
That's a good question. I don't, because I haven't found any type of post yet. I'm trying all kinds of different posts to see what kind of post will get people into the door. And until I find what that kind of post looks like, I'm not willing to put money into it. Like I said, that one was 500. I've had one that was over 1,000. Most of them are like 60, 70. But until I start figuring out which ones resonate with people to get them actually in the door, I'm not willing to put money into it.
Have you posted any advertisements about sales or like a limited time offer or coupons?
Yes, not coupons, everything else you said, I have done. And then just every once in a while, I'll just do a post about what I've done today. I went out for a drive in the country, or look at the beautiful tree in my backyard, just keeping it changed up. Like I said, it gets good response. It's just not getting people in the door.
Have you done any video, like a video of your store to put on there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but some of these people that I'm seeing pictures of, I've taken classes on. I'm just going to rant a little bit. People, I'll see different people face to face, and they'll go, "Oh, gee, I keep meaning to come into the store." And how many of you here that I take a class with at Business Accelerator has looked at my Facebook or my webpage? Thank you, Mickie. I appreciate that.
If you have a high count of looking at the elk antlers, that's me, and I apologize.
Oh, okay.
I keep looking at them, and I'm like, I think I want to buy these, but I don't know. So So if you've got an inordinate amount of counts on someone looking at your elk antlers, it was my fault.
Okay. And for myself, I know that I've got to get it out there that I'm not just antiques and not just souvenirs, that I've got things, like you said, I've got the elk antlers, I've got lots of Western stuff, I've got things that I know people don't really think of when they're thinking antique store. And I am trying to find the formula to get that impression changed.
So one suggestion, just a business pivot that I would suggest is, I know that I don't know 100%, but there may be new hotels and motels opening up in the area, one or multiple. And because of the aesthetic of where we are, those motels are typically going to want Western style artwork and antiques in them anyways to fit the vibe of Southeast Colorado. So aside from your day-to-day clients where you want to sell, one item to them, you could also try and create a business partnership with maybe an incoming business like the hotel, where you strike a deal with them where you're furnishing their main room for them with the antique set and the art pieces that you have in your gallery.
Thank you. So I'll just, so I know there's one been in the works that hasn't been built yet in Lamar, and is there others also being considered in the Lahana area?
I believe so, from what I know. I can't say specifically contact or company or anything like that, but I know that it is in the works. So if at some point it is announced to the public and that a specific name or contact or something like that, then it would be a smart move to kind of just call them right away and
follow that up. Follow up on that. Yes, thank you.
And then you could, again, kind of pivoting or manipulating your marketing strategy to let that person think who you're selling to, that you're meant to be there. So if you market yourself in a sense of, I know that this is what people want to see in the area because this is who we are. I'm meant to be here. Here's the stuff to make your business better. And if you kind of come in with that attitude of, I'm here to help you because I know what I'm doing and I'm meant to be where I'm at, and you come in with that confidence, I can guarantee if you 1 out of 5 companies that you come out with that type of energy, you're going to walk out with some sort of contract from at least one of them.
Speaking of other local businesses, are there any businesses in your immediate community that you could see kind of striking a strategic partnership to direct clientele to each other?
The only thing that I've really come up with, and I haven't followed up on it, is with the liquor store, is for some of these holiday things, especially maybe for Valentine's Day, if she were to sell a bottle of something, then she would have a coupon to give her client or her customer to come to my store and get a really good deal on a set of wine glasses or whatever. What I'm really interested in doing is going around to the antique stores in the whole region and advertising us all as an antique store loop for people throughout the country who would like just to do that kind of thing.
For something like that, once you talk to the other antique shops in the area, that would be a really great concept to then discuss with local tourist boards and tourist websites.
Yes, I've been involved with Canyons and Plains in the past, and I need to look into Colorado.com.
And I'm going to throw something out there that's just a little unusual, but do you have like an alumni group page that you have for Eads High School? Or we have an alumni page for Grenada High School where I went to school, and people will post on there and you'd be surprised how many have moved away that still want a piece of home, that will order things just because, oh, that's really cool and it reminds me of home. And just an idea.
I think
Absolutely.
that's
Thank
a
you.
great point. I just put in the chat box, Rich and Kirk asked if anyone would feel comfortable sending their Facebook address to their advertising email. So I have both Kirk and Rich's. And that's just all you're doing is you're sending them an email with your Facebook address. It's a way, it's one way of using this opportunity where we're actually talking about sharing information and making sure that that information gets out, using the resources just with us on the screen right here. Because Rich and Kirk work with many businesses, and they're over in Los Animas County. So that gets that information out across the region, as opposed to just in your specific region. It's just one more way of getting that information out there. And I did want to add, and Rich and Kirk, thank you for that offer. I hope I typed everything in there correctly. I also wanted to let you know that SBDC is that we're actually looking right now at what it would look like if we created a map of all the different towns and cities throughout the region, all the stores, all the small businesses that are available. There have been some that have been done in the past by individuals, and then, and unfortunately those individuals, some of them actually are no longer with us because they passed on, but they created these amazing maps of communities where you could actually find where's the theater and where's this antique shop and where's this. And so what we're going to be looking at is how best to create that for the entire region so that we actually have something that you can get that map no matter where you are. And it encourages you to travel to other places as well, because that's great for us in our town or our city, but it's also great for our region because we're all consumers and we do things on our Saturdays, or we go looking for treasures, or we just want to do something different. And I think that that's something that I feel like it's something that we need. So I'm throwing that idea out there because I'm a big believer in, if you have this idea, throw it out there, let people know what it is that you're thinking about doing, because they may have a plan already in place and be working on something like that, or you can join forces and put something like that together, because we have a lot of, I know Stephanie has put a tremendous amount of work into transit. So when we're talking about transit, we're talking about getting from point A to point B. And then we have all these small businesses. And so how we could maybe put this together, I think that this is, and we see it, you see it in your urban areas. You go to Larimer Square and pick up a flyer and it shows you every shop and here in this number, and you go to the mall. Well, not that many people go to the mall anymore, but when you used to go to the mall all the time, there was a directory that would tell you, here's your retail, here's your jewelry shops, here's your restaurants. And I think that that's something that for our region, I think that it is something that would be, it's smart. It takes some collaboration, but it's not something that would be overly expensive to do.
If I could jump in for just a second.
Thank you.
Ginger, I think that once that resource was created, that Real Deals would be the perfect place to house it, since you already have such a large percentage of our small businesses advertising in your magazine. And then tying in with Stephanie with transit, have the two of you ever discussed striking a deal to get all of the Real Deals magazines into back seats of buses and such in the area?
We haven't, but that would be an interesting conversation, Stephanie, to get together.
Absolutely. Anything that we can do to get the word out about our local businesses, we're, all for that.
Yes.
And plus it gives them something to,
read.
Look at, read while they're moving across the region. So
yes.
Very good idea.
Yes.
Plus, I think that from a marketing standpoint, I think that there probably would be some opportunities to possibly see if we could get some sponsors to help fund something like that. When you're doing it for a small area, it's tough to get a lot of money. When you're doing it for a large area, that's when your larger sponsors become interested.
If I may interrupt for 1 second, I just want to give Stephanie a moment to say goodbye. I noticed that she has to leave to another meeting. So I just wanted to say thank you for your participation. I was very excited to have transit as part of this conversation because people don't typically think about transit when marketing, but it is a huge piece in marketing and in tourism. So we appreciate
and a lender as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Hope to continue to be part of these conversations because it's important that people know that, there are programs and people out there working for small businesses in the area because we have to be their cheerleader. We know that. So we're willing to help do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie, have a good evening.
You too.
And we're at 3:27, so we've actually had this very, very rich conversation, which I think that we've got a lot of great stuff here. What I would say is at this point that we bring this to a close, just to be cognizant of everybody's time, but that we will do some careful editing, and then we will also, all of this will be on YouTube as well. And then if you have additional questions, if you're wanting to connect with someone that was on Plain Talk today and you felt that you weren't thinking about it at the time, let us know. We will make sure that you get connected to them, or you can send a chat over to them. Please don't feel that the moment that we turn the camera off that you're disconnected. The whole idea of this is that this is an ongoing conversation, and that we've got so much that we can do, and so much that we can talk about and share with our community. So we want to thank you for being a part of this today. This is a really exciting conversation.
And then just to add to what Mickie was saying, so ongoing and going forward, we're always accepting consultations for any reason for your business needs. The website that you'll want to consult or schedule a consultation with us is southeastco.sbdc.org. And we got a ton of talent on our team. Rich and Kirk are very good with marketing. Sammy is very good with marketing as well. Mary and Jaydon are super women when it comes to operations and forms and legality stuff. And Mickie is your go-to person if you need anyone to help you out with, the big boy contracts and getting big companies to pay attention to the requests that you may have. So don't be afraid to contact our team for any need because we have a huge group of people that could help in many different realms of development. All
right. Thank you so much once again for today. And we look forward to seeing you again. And please check out YouTube. Please check out our website. And please always feel free to reach out to us for any of your needs.
And I did just see a comment from B. Martin to please repeat who we should contact. The website you'll want to schedule a consultation with is southeastcosbdc.org. We do have a page on the site describing all of our consultants and what we specify in. And the contacts on the call right now for marketing specifically is myself, as well as Kirk and Rich Hoffman. Sorry, I didn't say Kirk's last name. Rich Hoffman and Kirk.
Yeah, we're not married.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I just, if you're still on, I just sent our website address, but you can also just reach out to us. You already have our contact information, and we'll make sure that you get connected to whatever.
In addition to what Kurt just said, our wives did buy us matching earrings.
Oh,
That was too much to share.
love that.
Well,
and that
for me, then we could be the Three Musketeers.
And I want you to know that that will not be edited out of what we put on YouTube now. Thank your wives.
For the landing picture, the video, if I could get a picture of both of you wearing the earrings, we'll just put that up as the play safe.
You're breaking up. Sorry, you're breaking up.
Boy, did I step in it there.
Thank you guys, and you have a wonderful afternoon.
Mickie, when would be a good time for you and I and Kirk to have a phone call?
Let me look at my schedule, and I will send you an email right after.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
What I'll go ahead and do, Rich, is connect our email thread, and I'll add Mickie to that since we've already started a conversation about that. So it'll just be on one stream. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Have
Thank
a wonderful
you,
afternoon.
Bye.